So give God some praise, y'all. God can do nothing in this place. Give God some praise. I'm going to chop my time up and go back and forth with some very special people in this room I think we all need to get to know. But let me start out by starting out with an I. But my desire and my dream is that I will turn to a we. And I'm glad today that I now is a we. Give God praise for unity. Come on, give God praise for unity. A few years ago, I was being honored on a Juneteenth event in 3rd Ward, and we were at this table, and my sister reminded me of an incident where a gangbanger rose up at the table and said, "None of you sorry preachers ain't doing blankety, 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 blank." And he went on belittling the church and saying that the church was the major problem in the black community, and the church was useless, and the church was a failure. The church let down this generation. And finally, the competitive spirit of me got too excited, and I rose and said, "Boy, sit down." And I began to challenge him word by word, word by word. Everything he said the church wasn't doing, I said, "But I'm doing it, I'm doing it. So now you're a liar, so sit your butt down right now and let a man talk." And that day, though, I made my mind up in the car. I said, some of the stuff he said was real. Right. Some of the stuff he said was reality, that the church has shut its door and the church has turned its back on the young boy in the hood. That because the young boy in the hood don't fit in to the scope of things, that we abandoned him. We've abandoned Kiki and we've abandoned Pookie and them. So we got to get back out of the four walls of the church and get back into the streets and take our sons and our daughters. We got to stop letting the gangbangers and the dope slangers. We got to stop letting the nigger infants take. We got to make sure that your Pookie can look at the church and say, "I want to be like him." He said, "I want to be like her," because if we don't, we'll keep having funerals. And then, this really drove me. There was a triple homicide. That means 3 people was murdered in Greenspoint. All 3 were under the age of 22. The first funeral was normal, but all these kids were walking in with these RIP t-shirts on. Kid after kid after kid. Okay. The second funeral the next day, the same thing took place. By the 3rd funeral, these kids were walking in, I noticed they were competing on how bleeding out an RIP t-shirt could be. And I realized dying young in my community had become so normal and commonplace that now it's a fashion statement of, can I bling out an RIP t-shirt? And I stood up in the middle of the funeral before I preached, and I broke out in tears. I said, "God, don't let me be a part of the problem. Use me to be a solution." And I made my mind up then that behind the pulpit wasn't what the glory and the glamour was, but every now and then I would leave the 4 walls and go back in the hood and save Pookie and save Keisha and save this generation, because I'm sick and tired of seeing young people dying and buried. I don't know about you, but I made my mind up, no more bloodshed. Can you say that with me? No more bloodshed. Well, I can't hear you. No more bloodshed. Say it like your son has been murdered. Say it like your daughter has been murdered. No more bloodshed. No more bloodshed. Now, it should be more now than then, though. Now watch this. I was in another meeting with some politicians and some medical professionals, and they were trying to come up with the cost analysis of when someone is murdered. And they were giving all these statistics, and they were giving all these solutions about when someone is murdered, how much it costs for the hospital system, how much it costs for the funeral home, how much it costs for the cemetery, and they made a mistake and gave me the mic. I said, all that stuff y'all said is fine and dandy, but y'all missed the mark. That's right. The cost when a young person is murdered, you cannot put a number on it. It's infinite, because it goes on and on and on. See, I'm gonna call some names real quick. I want you to tell me how much it costs for the Kim family to bury George Kim Jr., age 20, gunned down. How many years ago? 3 years ago. They still paying the cost. Yes. You can't put no cost analysis on their pain and their grief. And I want, as I call these individuals' names, I want everybody who puts their finger on the trigger thinking that's the answer. You're not just killing your brother, you're killing everything that God had purposed for your brother and your sister's life. When you kill someone, you're killing all their potential, you're killing all their dreams, and you're killing everybody that's connected to them. The Kim family will never be the same. You can't put a pulse on that. name. George Kemp Jr. Let's say his name. George Kemp Jr.
George Kemp Jr.
DeAndre Edwards.
DeAndre Edwards.
Age 28. Say it again. Now you holler back out. Where you at?
Right here.
Holler back out again.
Right here.
Now holler that name back out again. See, they holler out impromptu because you can't control the pain. See, some days it's a good day, but you might wake up one morning and it's all you can remember is that I won't be able to sit at the table with my son. I won't be able to go to the beauty shop with my daughter. See, one day you'll wake up and can't nobody tell you how the hell you're supposed to feel that day. Because you get ready to call your son or call your daughter and they're not there. You got to go to a cemetery. That's the reality. These are not statistics. I'm sick and tired of politicians making dead black boys and black girls statistics. They're not statistics, they have a name. That's somebody's son, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's mother. Stop playing games. Don't be tricked by the gun control battles. If they really care, the NRA would not be the most powerful political figure in America. If they really care. They may give you a smoke screen, but they really want to end gun violence. They change the rules on who can have a gun. It's easier to get a gun in America than it is to get a library card. Patrick Charles Murphy, age 20, mistaken identity, going to the store for his mother, to never see his mother again. That's not a statistic. That's a tragedy. Let's say his name. Patrick Charles Murphy. Say his name. Patrick Charles Murphy.
Patrick Charles Murphy.
How long ago has this been? 10 years. Oh, you ought to be over it by now. Sister, you ought to be over that. See, insensitive people will say crazy. Like, you are Pastor Wright, you ought to be over that by now. You're supposed to be a man of faith. You're supposed to be a man of God. You still whining about your daughter being shot down. You ought to be over that. Tell that person you are a fool and get out of my face.
Come on.
Nobody can tell you how long it takes to grieve. See, if I die of cancer, if I die of a disease, maybe my family can handle that and say, okay, we can deal with that. But when somebody else decides to take somebody's life, when somebody decides to put a gun in their hand and wipe you out, you can't tell your mother and your father how long the grieving period is, because your mother and father had plans for you, not to bury you, but to see you graduate, to see you get married, to become grandparents, and some thug, some hoodlum, some gangster, some coward took that option away from them. Janice Chapman and Manny Johnson, age 14, age 17, on their way to school. On their way to school. I could imagine they ate breakfast that morning. I could imagine they were looking forward to what they were going to do after school. They never made it home again. Their mother still grieves. Their family still pains. Because their life mattered. So I want you to hear, not statistics, but I want you to hear from these mothers. And I'm praying, I always make a mistake, George. I always say mothers. Because it's just natural for a man to say, but come here, George. Bring your son. I want you to be the first one to share. Because we said mothers, but sometimes we, as men, we get a little off balance. It's not just the mothers that's struggling. It's not just the mothers that's crying. Every now and then, we cool. Every now and then, it's going to come and say, he's tripping, he's crying, he's about to lose it. Because can you imagine? Can you imagine you got a son with potential to make it to the league? I mean, everybody's telling you how great your son is. He's going to be a great NFL player. And then to wake up one day and your son is gone. You can't toss the ball to him. You can't sit in the stadium. You can only remember the memories. As a black man, we're supposed to be protectors. As a black man, we're supposed to be providers. And ain't nothing he can do for us. Tell me, how does that feel, brother?
Let me tell you how it feels. It's like evil. It's like cancer. I woke up every morning and I said, "Good morning, George." I go every night, go to bed, "Good night, George." I raised my son, coached Little League football, all to my son went to college. I kept my son by my side every day. To save him through teenage days so he wouldn't have a record. So you'd be able to get a good job. Be responsible in life. I worked him like a full-grown man all his life. Since he was 8 years old. I used to get him in a uniform, a little league, at the football practice, go cut some yards. Don't even take the uniform off. You gonna be productive in life, son. You gonna be somebody. But one thing I got out of him, even though my son is gone, his football records go to the Hall of Fame. There's no free safety in the nation or in this world can get 129 tackles. You find me one, and that's on 11th grade year. 12th grade year, come back and get 119. That's the next year. Then I want to get on offense. The coach said he can't catch. Son, you make your own offense. Don't tell them what they can do. My son had over 500, 600 yards of interception and kickoff return, but he can't catch. But the hard part about it is he didn't get a scholarship. Whoa. The coach never had him in the system.
Come on now. Come on now.
I sat down with my son and said, "Son, I told you it's a cruel world."
Come on now.
See, but Daddy, I gave him everything I had. I even taught other guys how to play like me. The coach wasn't the coach. I was the coach, but I told them, don't tell the coach.
Right.
And they got scholarships.
Yes, sir.
So, son, you don't hold. You going somewhere. You going somewhere. So, me, a lot of coaches said, "No, my son, for Little League." He said, "Anybody made it. That boss supposed to make it." A needle in the haystack. He wasn't needle in the haystack, 6'2", 6'3". We waited in the Varvin Junior College called us. Bring him out here. He don't have to come to spring training or nothing. First year, we got a championship ring. He said, "Dad, I'm tired. They don't know who I am." My son done signed everything from Little League. Tennis shoes, jerseys. He been the same thing all his life. See, they don't know who I am. They don't know me. Then my son, we sit down in the living room. It's like two grown men talking. The son, let me tell you how this world gonna be.
Come on now.
To high school.
Yes,
Some of y'all gonna be on drugs. Some of y'all going to prison. Some of y'all gonna be alcoholic. Some of y'all gonna be thieving, robbing, and everything else. Some gonna be shot. 2 weeks later, my son got shot down. My wife called me, I was at work. I've been on my job 30 years, faithfully. Out of year time, I missed 5 days out of the year. But I've done for 30 years. When I got that phone call saying my son was dead, I dropped my keys and I've been to work since then. I forced myself to retire. I could have went back, my dog begged me. I said, I can't come back. But one thing I learned after all this him, my son always said my daddy worked too hard. My daddy worked too hard. When I get out of my son's death fields, he made me realize I didn't need that job no more. He broke that chain off my neck. And I thank my son for that. I'm more than half a man that ever been in my lifetime. Even though the hurt and pain I go through, I still reach back and try to help young men and women out.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I ask you, what's wrong?
Come on now.
What's wrong? Let me show you a sample. No, man, come here. Let me show you something. I'm not picking on you. Let me show you something. Same kid. How old are you? 12. See how big he is? My son's 6'2", 6'3". How can you whoop him? He's an athlete. He rides bucket horses and everything else. And all you do is lose. He eating coons, squirrels, wildlife.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
How can you deal with him? But you want to be a gangster with a group. I got 7 young men that never been charged that's involved. And I know the parents, mothers and fathers, you love your child. But now you want to jump in and try to save your child. What about all that time he was going wrong when Big D talked? He was all right. That's my child.
Yes, sir.
Now that's my baby.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
But your baby got to do this time. Now in time, your baby needs to start eating squirrels, raccoon, possum, waiting you to build himself up. Because where he going, your baby ain't going to survive and you know it, and you're afraid to tell your baby you ain't going to make it. But I got to let you know.
That was amazing. All this time I've known this brother has never said more than 20 words at one time. But today, all of it spilled out because his son is not a number. His son is still his son. We're going to hear from the mother of George Kemp. The reason we're doing this is I want you to see real life stories of what happens when someone pulls the trigger. And read. Well, I'll just take the liberty. When someone pulls the trigger, you're not killing another nigga. You're killing someone's legacy. You're killing someone's hope and someone's future. Let's hear from the mother of George Kemp Jr. Before we hear from her, there's a black Toyota. You parked in the handicap zone. Your lights are on. Please remove your car. A black Toyota in the handicap zone.
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank everybody for allowing us the opportunity to come out to share our pain. I say now, 3 years later, it's past the pain. Because you can go to the physician and get something to subdue that. I'm suffering. And for the rest of my life, I'm going to suffer. Because I will never see my child again. I have been given a life sentence. I don't care how much time those young men get. They mother, father, children, whomever can still walk in those doors and see their child. Try following me for a day. Try going with me to Brookside Cemetery and lay down with me and just stand from a distance and see what I do. I lay there, I talk to my child and say, I don't know how in the hell did you get here? You were just being a productive person. Your dad and I sowed so much into you. We wasn't, especially me, I wasn't a worthy girl. I tried to do everything what my grandparents taught me to do, was to be an upstanding citizen. And I sowed that into my children. But now I gotta sit at the cemetery and figure, wait, you was just in diesel mechanic school. I just told you I didn't care what you did, as long as you be a productive person in society. That me and your daddy got your back. And now I have to bury it? Y'all have lost your mind. This is unthinkable. But I want to say, I want all you guys, everybody here to think about with your mother. I know she told you guys stories about what it was like when she brought you home from the hospital. And you love to hear those stories, didn't you? Raise your hands if that happened. I know you did. That beautiful blanket that somebody made down the street. But I'm sorry, to walk in here and to look back over here what Mr. Reginald Gordon does, this is something I never dealt with. Reginald, I don't mean to mess up your display. But who in the hell put my child in a body bag? They didn't ask me nothing. I don't like seeing that.
Speak for Andrea. Come on now. Speak for Andrea.
But instead, somebody decided to pull the trigger on my child. You didn't have that right. I gave life to that child. I sold it to him. For you to put him in a body bag that you walked away from, you didn't even care. You didn't. If you cared, you would have came to the funeral if that be the case. You would have come see me and his daddy tear up the house if that be the case. But instead, you left this decision for somebody that had a job to come scoop my child off the ground, covered in his blood. What the hell is going on in America? What is going on in our streets? What are we not teaching our children? But then you want to be mad at me because I'm fighting for justice for my I'm gonna fight my hair. I'm sorry. You may look like me, but in a village, we need to put all this stuff in the street. And these men need to rise up, take control of these boys. We can only do so much. We know our role is to nurture. But God dang, we can't do the discipline and raising them. But if you want to be out there swinging with them and everything else, how will they know any different? How will they know the change? They got to be able to see that something is wrong that they're doing in their behavior. I would never love and hug on my child. And for them to call me and tell my child was no longer in this atmosphere, you must have lost your mind. You mean tell me my child that I gave birth to, my whole everything is gone? I don't think so. But that wasn't the case. It was hard for me to make that phone call and tell my husband that your child is no longer here. And he said, what? I said, I got news that little George was killed. He said, no way. I said, well, what do? We make it home. All I know is remember, tearing up everything. But I do know this. I do know a God that I do serve. I said, when I went down there to fight for justice for my child, I buckled it up because my son, he was a free safety. He said, Mama, I don't be worried about stuff that go on the field because they got to come through me first. They can't get no touchdown. So I'm standing. I was standing on this damn body bag. I was standing on it. Because I'm going to take this. I'm going to take it for the team. I don't want no other child to lose their life.
That's right.
I'm already shredded up. But when I get to heaven, I know God will give me a new road. But I'm going to fight for mine and for ones that's coming behind me. Because we need to stop this foolishness. And when I decided to travel, get off of my porch, and say, God, what happened to my life? I started hitting the airplane. I never thought I could travel so much. I went to Sabrina Fulton's grief conference, and I stood before her and said, Sabrina, thank you for what you've done for us for Trayvon. Because we, as a community, as a black community, we could not fathom what happened to you. I said, but here I stand before you because my child is gone. And she said, if you thank me, you go back to your community and you reach other mothers. Not one, mothers. And that's what I did. In my grief, I'm like, God, you crazy. How can I be trying to buy decorations for a dinner and I'm so wounded, I can't help nobody. But helping others is healing me. Right. I'm telling these mothers, no, you ain't gonna lose your mind. You are not gonna be legal crazy. We're gonna stand in the spirit of Christ and we're gonna get out here and show our pain, but we're gonna try to make a difference. We are using our voices to put this together to say no more bloodshed in our streets. You will not spill my child's blood out. They will not spill your child's. Mine is already spilled, but for that baby over there, and 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 that baby over there, your blood gonna stay in your body. We need you graduating. We need people going to these schools, having lunch with them. If somebody in your neighborhood is gone to jail, I'm tired of hearing that. The mama gone to jail. The daddy out on drugs. Well, if that be the case, will you stand in the gap? Do something. Take care of what you can take care of in your little box. And your community will be great, and guess what? We can change everything. But I said from the beginning, I'm grieving, but I'm not gone. And I thank everybody for the opportunity to share about my baby George County. Because if mama don't stand for righteousness, I'm gonna stand, I will march, I will do whatever I gotta do. And I have got to share this two things and I'm done. My 7-year-old grandson says, Grandma, he said, Nana, is Uncle George ever coming back? I picked him up from football because little George always was letting him put on his helmets and everything. And I had to look at him and say the truth. I didn't make up no lie, say he going to college, they ain't where he at. So ain't any sense me lying. I said no. Uncle is not ever going to come back. He didn't like us. He didn't like living with us. No, he liked living with us. Somebody chose to take his life. I said, so he is transitioned to God. He said, well, God don't have a car, so how did he get there? So he's trying to understand. He's still struggling. But even today, after being on the radio show, talking about the Village of Mothers and how we're putting our voices together and how we're standing up in causes and how we out here fighting. I'm sitting on my front porch before we came here. My little grandson, let me see this, George. I have a curio cabinet at home that I have all my things in. And just in June, the Village of mothers, we had the opportunity to sit on the panel to speak as a witness for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I'm just sitting on the porch. My little 3-year-old grandson runs out, and he say, Nana, you going to No More Bloodshed? Because he loves Pastor Deckard. I said, no, we're not going to No More Bloodshed. But he had this flyer. And his mom said, did you get that out of Nana's cabinet? He go, uh-huh. He said, tell them stop killing us. And then he gets on his little scooter and he goes home. And I look at my daughter in disbelief. I say, do you see that? Ain't no way in the world my 3-year-old grandson should be telling me, tell them stop killing us. He probably thinking, now he's thinking about his future. I want him to think about SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse. But I said, I'm going to do that. So Cash just say, stop killing us.
That's right.
Thank you.
Patrick Charles Murphy. Leave it. I won't leave it. Leave it. Patrick Charles Murphy. Before I turn it over to his mother, Kathy, I have a very imposing question to all of us. If Patrick Charles Murphy or George Kemp or these other individuals who we're going to hear from, if we heard that a man in blue was behind the trigger, we'd all rise up, be furious, angry, tear something down, burn something up, ready to protest. But when I tell you, another black man took a black man's life, you shut down on me. Like ain't no big deal. How in the heck do you expect them to value us if we don't value us? If you don't care about your brother and your sister, stop being your brother and sister's killer and start being your brother and sister's keeper. Don't expect them to care about us.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here, first of all. Thank you all for the leaders that gathered and brainstormed and formed this conference. And thank you all participants for being here. I'm Kathy Buford Daniels. And as some of you may have saw me come in and speak to a lot of people, and it's because I've been out here on this trail for a long, long time. 10 years this weekend. We buried my baby. 6'2", my sidekick, my baby. No criminal background, no thug. I see Pastor Graves back there. He was part of the drill team. That's all he did. Marched in the drill team for church, sung in the choir, had his sealed transcripts registering for college. When he was killed, somebody walked up from behind him and put a bullet in his head because they thought he was somebody else. So his life cut short. And some of my church members, as they prayed with me and helped me through, you never get through it, but helped me to get to the funeral. They said, Kathy, we're going to pray for you because they don't know. They awoke a sleeping giant.
Amen.
And when they did that, after a few years, a couple of years, I was in a fog. The first 2 weeks he was killed, I was at City Council. The lighting situation and the no loitering signs that are in neighborhood stores today is because within 2 weeks of his death, I was at City Council insisting that they do that. And the reason why that was important, because the videos at the stores, they weren't even keeping the videos. They didn't have insurance. If you go into a neighborhood store right now, something happens to you, or even to the clerk, they're not even insured. It's not about money, because Lord knows if I had any amount of money, I'd give it for 15 minutes with my baby. 15 more minutes, that's all I'd ask for. I'd love a lifetime if I just had 15 more minutes. And it's clearly said about the body bag. And when I got that knock at the door on a Sunday night, and I was a workaholic. Those of you that know me, I work all the time. I'm retired now, because of Patrick's death. I retired early, 28 years as a single parent at the post office. 2 mortgages, moved from one house in Scenic Woods and moved to another, had another built, to try to give him an opportunity for a better education. Because he came from North Forest and went to Humble, he was on honor roll in North Forest and he needed help in Humble School District. I sent him to Sylvan Learning College, Learning Academy. I couldn't even afford it. Every other Saturday he was going to Sylvan. And because I had to ensure that he had on a level playing field with those other kids at school, I paid that mortgage and that car note every other month to make sure he had what was necessary. It didn't matter if we lost the house or lost the car, he was going to that extra training for him for school. There were 2 people that my son at 6'2" was afraid of. And that was God and Kathy Bluford Daniels. Because I didn't play. I had 5 brothers, 5, born and raised in Fillmore. All of them in and out of penitentiary. Some rough characters. But I was determined that Patrick Murphy was not going to lead that same life. So I worked like a dog. And I told him, I said, he and my daughter down at one time, because I was at all their programs, but he said, Mama, he said, you at work off today. It's my baby. He was on my knee, dragging my leg. Mama, you always at work. I said, well, we have 2 choices. I can go to work, and you can have your nice room and the comforts of home, or I could not go to work, be at home, cook every day, be at home when you get home, and be on welfare assistance. They both said, Mama, go to work. But I did what I had to do. I thought it was important to raise him with morals, which was working and going to church. Those were important to me, and those are things that I did. Education was paramount in my house. My daughter has her master's. Because she had just gotten her bachelor's, Patrick was prepared to go to TSU, which is why he had the sealed transcripts in his car. But when he went to the store about 9:15 on a Sunday night after church, somebody who had had a fight earlier that day, some coward thought, full of drugs, as Patrick came out of the store and getting back into his car, thought it was somebody else. My baby never saw the person, didn't know it. We didn't know the individual. No relationship whatsoever. That's how fast it happened. So when I got that knock of the doorbell ring, as I'm preparing for work for the next day, and someone said, Miss Kathy, come quick, something happened to Patrick. I said, not Patrick. Not Patrick. Patrick never even had a fight. Not Patrick. And as I rushed to the corner of Langley and Parker, and I saw his car at that store, I just started praying. Jesus, you know I've done everything that you've asked me to do. I haven't been a perfect person, but I've tried to live the life that you wanted me to live. I've done it to others. I had him in church. I had him in school. I prayed. I asked you to protect him, and you let me down, God. You let me down. Oh. But I asked that question of God because I had that relationship with God. But as he lay on that street, and it wouldn't let me get close, my baby. As a mother, we think that we can get close to him, we can somehow breathe life in him and make him get back up. Because I just felt like if I say, Patrick, get back up, he would get up. I had to watch my babies. My pastor came, my pastor, Matthew R. Alex Sr. of Greater Truce Baptist Church in Fillmore, Texas. As my pastor came, my family came, my cousins, my friends, everybody came together. And people gathered, standing around to see the body down there and see how the mama's going to react and how the family's going to react. And I was composed because I had God. And though my baby lay there, my heart broke. My daughter came and she fell apart. My brothers came and they fell apart. My mother came and they fell apart. But I couldn't fall apart. Though it was still my baby laying there. For 5 hours, my baby laid in that spot. 5 hours. All I could see is his body covered and his arms sticking up. I'll forever remember my baby trying to get back in his car with one leg in and his arm sticking up. Because some coward made a decision that they were not going to settle an argument with words or meet and say, okay, man, I was wrong. Let's do something about this. Let's handle this some kind of other way. Patrick was the one in the middle of that supper. And my family, and let me just tell you, your families are never the same.
That's right. That's right.
As close as we were as a family, my family, my mother points fingers, everybody points fingers. Why did you sit into the store? Why couldn't I sit into the store at 9:15 at night? That was his right. But it was not anybody's right to walk up behind him and put a bullet in his head. You have to bury it. No gun. It wasn't no gun or GoFundMe account. Because that's something we don't even think about. After you go out there and do your damage and do your due, then we turn around and have these GoFundMe accounts. Everybody's paying $10 for a t-shirt. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's not the way the circle of life is supposed to be. Children are supposed to bury their parents. Pastor Deckard asked, how long before I get over it? I'll never get over it. We formed a group called Black Moms. Black, Latina, Asian, Caucasian, mourners of murder. That's everybody. Because guess what? No matter what color you are, once you start to bleed, it's all the same. It's no red, it's no blue, it's all one color. It's purple. So we've got to put those guns down and learn how to separate differences. When we were young, don't think we didn't fight. We fought. But it wasn't, but probably an hour or two later, we back playing together. Only cowards pick up guns and kill each other to settle their differences. Cowards! Because you're too afraid of being whipped. And one thing about it, Muhammad Ali just passed. He was the greatest fighter in the world. And he got whipped. But he got back up. And the problem with what these people didn't realize when they took my baby was, they should let Kathy Ballard Daniels alone. Let me sleep. Because I've been on these streets for the last 10 years ever since. And I'm not going to stop until I go to glory. And let me just tell you, once we stop, and we stop you all, and we tell you all, try to talk to you guys, because we stop people all the time. I've served on grand juries trying to help. I'm in places trying to make a difference in your life. You don't know it. I make contact with people, state reps, trying to make a difference in your life. It ain't about me, because I don't need it. I'm not going to jail. I don't think. I'm not going to jail no time soon. But let me just tell you this. We're not afraid of you. We're not afraid of you. We've already lost everything we could possibly take from us. We're here to try to help you. We're sacrificing our time to try to help you. We're protesting at HISD, Jerry Monroe, to try to help you, to improve conditions in the schools. We're out there not to be popular. I wouldn't care if you never knew Kathy Bluford Daniels' name. But you know it now, because I'm out there on the forefront, Dr. Shabazz, trying to make a difference in these young people's lives. It's not about me. I'm too old to be educated at this point. But it is about you young people.
Yes.
It's about you young people. We're out here protesting when things are done wrong against you because of you all. Our children are gone. We're trying to save you.
Yes.
We're trying to make a difference in your life. Look at these mothers. Look at these mothers. Look at these mothers. And when I say protesting at HISD, when we're protesting at HISD because of lack of programs, Monroe, where are some of these people? Monroe, where are some of these people?
Come on.
This lady, this child, was going to school because they didn't offer programs in her community school. She had to get up early, trying to go to school at Fur High School, and she was on the Sterling because they didn't have the programs at Sterling. You say, well, how do we get these programs? Get up off your butts and go vote. That's how you get it. If you say your vote don't count, it don't. Both of these mothers put their babies on a school bus in HISD. And the bus goes across the rail. 14 years old. 17 years old. And they will not see their children's faces again. Let me say this one more time. If you want to know how you make a difference, get up off your butts and vote. Register and vote. If the people that are in position are not putting the programs in our schools, let's get rid of them. We don't say this just, we're not beating these streets just for the heck of it. That's what really makes a difference. Get to know the police officers in your neighborhood. I'm the president of this neighborhood. I have the officers who are in my route, their personal phone numbers. I don't share them, but when we have problems, I call them. We had people moving into Fifth Ward on that, what do you call that new stuff now? Kush. Hanging out by dope, and there was 15, 20 of them. I call the officers. Guess how many hanging out there now? Get to know your police officers. They're good and bad at everything. Everything. So we can't condemn all of them. We have some that are really, really trying to make a difference and trying to help us in our communities. And I can honestly say that ours have. So I'm going to pass this mic on to somebody else. But if I don't leave you with anything else tonight, other than Patrick Charles Murphy laying on the ground for 5 hours, mistaken identity, the other most important thing, register to vote. It does no good to register if you don't vote.
Before they take their seats, I want you to see them. Because someone said, what difference will it make if they speak? And this is what difference it'll make. When you hear their real story, they can just stop one person. They can just stop one person from pulling the trigger. This young man that I'm holding, it may save his life. If they can just stop one person from changing their mind and doing something different, this young man can live and reach his full potential. And I'm going to leave you with this question. Before your loved one was murdered, before your loved one was taken away suddenly, were you active in the community? Were your voice being heard? Were you comfortable in your life, or were you out there stalking the streets before tragedy happened? See, they were all comfortable, but the Bible says all things work together for the good. And God took their worst tragedy and now giving them a voice so someone else's son or someone else's daughter will have a chance to live. So I leave you the same challenge. Get above your butt and get involved, get engaged, stop being excuse makers, stop blaming the other people. No one is going to save us except us. Get involved. No more bloodshed. May God bless you.
Well, what I got out of it was mostly like, we have all these problems and issues in our communities, and we have to address these problems starting with things with ourselves. Like, we can't expect our government to do it. We can't expect, him or her to do it. Everything starts with you. So, that's kind of what I kind of got from it, and it kind of motivates me. Well, not kind of. It makes me want to go put my hands to go good use.
Good used to it. Good used to it. Okay. Is there anything that you could, you want to share back with the community and let them know, let some of the guys that your age know that what they need to do and what they have to do different to get it if they in any situation like that, or how to get out of the game like that?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the God who's inside of you. So everything goes back to God. So once you know who you are in God, then everything else will just kind of transition along the way. You'll be a model citizen.
Right.
I'm not saying that you're going to be like, a stiff or anything, but you're going to be more willing to, be a decent member of the society, community, so you can better your family, better yourself, and better this generation. Because like Minister Muhammad was talking about, it's us. We're fearless. Like we're the warriors. We're the one that's gonna be doing all the fighting. But we can't fight if we dead. So that's my little 2 cents.
It's a good thing for the neighborhood, Like I like it, It be a lot of violence in where I'm from.
Don't snap.
So it's really good. So I participate, a lot of this is just for the hood, Because I really want to see people do better, Where we come from, it be just a lot of fighting and shooting going on. So it's a lot of perspective. So I really brought a lot of my people out too.
Okay, in your words, what do you think that we need to do better in our hood to make our hood better?
Self, it's really in self, like y'all say, it's all in self,
Yeah.
So it's really in them. If they really want to participate, it's gonna be all in them that want to participate,
Okay, man, for the record, for the camera, can you just tell the people out there, guys like, our age, what can we do to just put down the guns? Basically, what can we do, how can we drop down the guns? Because we know they out there.
Yeah,
we know they putting them in the hood, but what can we do to put them down?
I gotta say, man, it's a bunch of coward guys out here like don't want to take losses, So it's really like I want to tell them, like, man, just don't even get yourself in that predicament. If you really don't want to be in the way, just stay out the way. Go to school, do something productive with your life. That's how I look at it. Because most people don't even do it like that. Most people want to shoot and go to jail. What you going to jail for? You're going to spend the rest of your life.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it.
I like what you did because tell them to stop killing. Tell them to stop joining gangs and stuff and get
That's right. So we take it up to the north side.
Okay. Good. So you want to make sure that you tell your friends that, hey, to do better, right? Tell your friends to do better.
do better.
Okay, 1, 2,
I mean,
3.
the event was beautiful. Anytime you get this big a diverse crowd of individuals from the community, Black, Latino brothers and sisters coming together for the same cause, all the ideological differences that may exist cast aside for the one cause, and that's to save the community and save the streets. It was beautiful to see the young people here sitting up front, taking it all in, and I just pray that they got something from it that's gonna make a difference, plant a seed in them that'll change their life and make them be individuals who one day may stand up and speak to a group of people the same way they were being spoken to today. So I'm honored to be here. I sat in the crowd and learned, and I'm thankful, man. Very thankful.